We will open the meeting at 6:30. We will start with a pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Winchester.
Here.
Ryan.
Here.
Burton.
Here?
Ruth.
Here.
Hollis.
Here. Chair would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Winchester. Is there support?
Support?
Support by Burton. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda. All items listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine and non-controversial. They do not require discussion by the Township Board, and they will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion. If discussion is desired on an item, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will automatically be moved to the last item under new business. Chair would entertain a motion.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Motion by Winchester, support.
Support?
Support by Ruth. I need a roll call, please.
Winchester.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Burton.
Yes.
Ruth.
Yes.
Hollis.
Yes. Motion carries 5-0. We don't have any public hearings or presentations, so we will go to reports. I'm not sure who I started with last time. We'll just go with Ruth.
Nothing really. I was just wondering, do we have a place for next, I heard from Haya that's going to be, this place is going to be torn down in June or July of next year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. In fact, I heard this morning that the everybody that's here has to be out by June of next year. They're actually going to start remediating the gym on Christmas break.
Yeah.
So they'll start demo work in there. They have some asbestos and stuff that they have to mitigate, and that'll start then. So the process is getting closer. Anything else?
That's it?
Okay. Mr. Burt?
And there was no planning commission meeting this month, so I have nothing to report.
Okay. Clerk Winchester?
Nothing?
Any election news?
No news?
No news. We have moved our election equipment out of this building
Yes.
as of yesterday.
We
it
have
is-
a couple more things.
I guess we have a couple more things, but we've started getting our stuff out to the new building.
The acrylic shields we used in 2020. Yeah, we just have to get those.
Okay. Treasurer Ryan?
We've sent out reminders for summer bills if any of them are still outstanding, and we've begun prep work on the winter bills, which will come out December 1st. And then we also had the auditors in October and completed that process. It went really smoothly, I think.
Okay. And I just want to tell you, this gal is on top of things. She had all those bills out, all of them, like right away. She actually made a couple of phone calls to some of our bigger taxpayers just to make sure that they were aware. And one of them was quite happy and literally had just forgotten. So going that extra mile and
It helps, yeah.
came right in. So we appreciate your efforts. Thank you. Supervisor's report. For those that haven't already heard, last Thursday we went on lockdown
Yes.
for the township offices. We have been working with one of the residents in our community with an unsafe building. You know, it's been before the board a couple of times. We've given them some extensions. As the date was coming closer, the date being July 25th, that resident came in the office and handed us a letter telling us if we come on the property, he will shoot, that he had it wired to shoot. We took that seriously, and we started working with the state police on how we were going to execute the court order that we had. That being said, last Thursday, there are two houses on this property. His tenant/neighbor came in with him wanting to know what he could do to get the power turned back on And of course, we've been through this for 2 years, and all of the dates have been missed, and nothing's been done as of yet. But nonetheless, the guy came in and said, what can I do to help this gentleman get things right? And I said, well, one of the problems is we've already got the court order, and we have to go in on the property to examine exactly where we're at. That being said, he changed everything when he threatened us with a shooting. The guy's face literally changed color, and he looked at me and he said, he did what? And I got the paper and I said, he brought it in writing that he would shoot and that he was wired to shoot. And the guy looked at me and he said, we might have a problem. And I said, what's that? And he said, I just bought him ammunition 2 days ago. So I reported that to the Village of Holly Police, Jerry Narsh, because the township office is in their jurisdiction. I also reported it to state police. Jerry Narsh's first question was, do you know what kind of ammo he bought? I said, I do not. I didn't think to ask. So we got a hold of him, called him back, and I said, can you tell me what kind of ammo you bought? Well, one of the boxes was 38. That's a hand-carried, put it in your pocket kind of gun. We then immediately took that threat seriously, and we locked down the building with the, after having a conversation with both state police and Jerry Narsh. Our building was built in 1892, and as many of you know that have been in the building, you literally can walk in our building. If you come in my door, I'm 10 feet away, sitting right there at my desk. If you walk in the front door or the back door, nobody even knows who you are until you come through the second set of doors, at which point you're only 6 feet away from Karen, if that much.
Right.
And you're literally 2 to 3 feet from Nina. And you open Amy's door, which is right there next to the entrance door, and she's about 5 feet. Well, this gentleman lends himself to be paranoid schizophrenic. He is convinced the Chinese government's trying to kill him. And as this date got closer, he was also convinced that Amy was working with the government to get him. So we took it seriously. We locked down the building. We continue to work with the state police. We continue to work with the Village of Holly Police. We then got to Friday and a meeting with the neighbor that bought the ammunition, and Jerry Narsh put things into perspective for the neighbor. He went back to the property, called us within an hour, and he said, I have the ammunition and the guns. And when he said guns, we went plural. He said, well, when he took me in to get the gun, he opened his box and he had a whole bunch, and I took them all. So understanding that he's paranoid schizophrenic doesn't mean they're somewhere else, but at least we have the ammo that he bought and guns that are taken off of the property. We are still going to address this with caution. This gentleman has offered to be a go-between because he seems to have I didn't want to say his name, the gentleman's confidence at this stage. So we're going to continue to work with that. The state police are kind of happy with that because nobody's wanted to go out there. We were debating on whether we're going to have to take a SWAT team or a robot or what we were going to do because nobody wants to get shot. And we don't want our first responders to have to worry about that. So I do want to thank Jerry Narsh and the Village of Holly PD for everything they did. He came and talked to the staff and kind of explained. We learned a lot about the law. We learned about what's legal and what isn't legal. You would think making the threat was illegal, but what I learned was,
In writing? Yeah.
Pardon?
In writing, it's got to be illegal.
No, and I'll tell you why. Here's the interesting part, a little lesson for everybody. The threat he made was, if you come on my property, I will shoot. Therefore, it's not an imminent threat until we go on his property.
Yeah.
And we've been fair warned. That being said, if you are on the phone with me and you get mad and you say, I'm so mad I want to punch you in the face, that's not a threat because you can't punch me in the face over the phone. If you're in my office and say that, that's a threat because I'm in imminent danger.
Right.
You're right there and you could take a swing. So it's the difference in what's said can be First Amendment right versus what's said can be imminent danger. So we learned about that as we had these conversations. going forward. So after the weekend, the staff decided we were okay and we opened the doors back up. The unfortunate part is, and we had vetted this conversation before we posted it, we were very careful to say in the post that due to a threat on personnel, we will be going on lockdown. When you get to the township office, call us and we can let you in. Obviously, if that one gentleman called, we would know his voice. It's distinctive enough.
Right.
And we would call Village of Holly Police to have him checked and taken care of. And it was basically because we can't see people coming in.
Right.
And we're not in a situation where we can see you pull in the parking lot. It's out back, or you could park anywhere in town. The fact that that post said it exactly that way, due to a threat, please call. I got a phone call within 15 minutes, said, "Oh my God, I hear you have a shooter. Are you okay?"
Jeez.
And I'm like, "Where did you get that?" "I saw the post." "Then you didn't read it." Within an hour, I had Lieutenant Shaw, who is the PR guy for the Michigan State Police. You see him on the news in the evening telling you stories about what happened. He's the guy on that microphone up front, kind of like you would Bouchard for Oakland County Sheriff. He calls me and he says, "George, I heard the Village of Holly's locked down. What's going on out there?" And I said, "Where did you hear this? We got a call." Well, I had to tell him, "No, that's not the case. I'm working with Lieutenant so-and-so," and I put the names out. And he said, okay. He said, "We got to get our hand on this before it goes too crazy." Next thing I know, I had him on the phone with the Detroit News because they wanted to put an article out there.
Jeez.
And we at least put an article out that gave the basics. But there were a couple of lessons over the last few days. One of them was the fact that the difference in a threat and not a threat. And then the other one was how fast things can spin out of control. Just, I couldn't believe that side of it, because if you look at that post, and I had it on my phone so I could, every time somebody called me, I could read it. It literally said, "Due to a threat on personnel, we will be going lockdown. When you get to the township office, call us first so we
Right.
can let you in." And Nancy Hanks actually went out in that post and said, "You're on lockdown, but you're letting people in?" And then before I saw it, Chris Rankin answered, and he said, "Well, they're not letting the bad guy in." So some people saw it and got it, but it was just interesting how that took a spin. So we are working on this. And then the other overlying comment is, a lot of this is due to the sad state of affairs of our mental health system. If this was a child, I could get him help. If it was a dog, I could have help immediately. But because it's an adult, he has to come in and ask for help.
Oh, boy.
And until he does, or until he does an act where then mental health could become his defense, there's nothing we can do. So it's been a lot of conversation, a lot of dilemma. I will say that the staff in our office, the young ladies that I work with, they were absolutely stellar. Our newest deputy treasurer was in the room with me taking notes when we had that conversation, and the gentleman mentioned that he had bought ammo, and she was cool, calm, and collective. So I give credit to our staff that we didn't have any hysteria.
Jeez.
While there was concern, everybody was professional. So that's a report I hope to never have to give again. But hopefully, if there are people watching, that may answer some questions. That being said, I'm going to move on to public comment on agenda items only. Members of the public can address the board on agenda items only, once recognized by the supervisor. Comments are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes. The board may extend this time by a majority vote prior to addressing the board. Members of the public shall state their name and address for the record. A second public comment is available after new business for all other comments. Thank you for your cooperation. Anyone wish to speak for a public comment? I saw a hand go up. That was the recording secretary. She's just scratching her head. Okay.
Sorry.
Well, I'm looking for hands, and it caught my eye. Okay, we have nobody for public comment. We will move on to old business. Shared space with the Village of Holly. If you had been watching that over the last 4 months, the village at their last council meeting Tuesday a couple of weeks ago, the village council voted 4-3 not to come and share the space with us. They will be doing their own project on the other side of town. in Cyclone Park. New business.
They're gonna be building a facility?
They have the old ambulance building. It's
Yeah.
been vacant for probably 20 years or so.
Okay.
Holly Dickens Festival has used the building for storage, for the stages and the props and stuff for the festival. But they will be retrofitting, remodeling, whatever word you want to use, that building there.
And how about our building?
Well, now that we know
Yeah.
whether they were coming or not, we're going to start working on
Okay.
our process. Under new business, 49 acres. It's a property listing and a request to village for water and sewer agreement for the property. Oh, you took the. Oh, you have it worded, okay, so this is the listing.
Yes.
Okay, it's just the way you have it worded threw me off.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of a two-parter over there, that
Yeah,
and,
it
that
is.
and needs to be divided. Okay, so our listing on that property is up. It's been over a year since we listed that property. And the real estate agent is not here this evening. He had requested that we renew the listing. I would like to ask this board to table this at the time for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's October 17th. We all know that by the time we get a month from now, in the middle of November, not much happens from the middle of November till the end of the year with the holidays. That being said, we've not had much activity on this property. It's 49 acres of land that's buildable. I've talked to a couple of real estate agents over the last couple of months. I would like to give the administration some time to put a formal request into the Village of Holly for water and sewer availability. We would have to actually do a formal engineering study if we wanted water and sewer. We can't do that because we don't know who's going to buy it and what they're going to propose. We can, however, submit a letter of intent, and we would get from them a letter that would say that it's available to the property, that it's a possibility. I'm working with the village manager on that, and I'd like to move forward on that. And then, at the same time, have a discussion with our planner on a possible PUD or some language. The whole point is to make the property a little more desirable, marketable going forward. Because we've had, the requests we have had have always started out as sewer available. Then they've always said, what can we do? Can we do? And we thought rather than fielding all of these, those questions you throw up against the wall to see which one sticks, we might be able to fine tune it and supply the real estate company with a tool that'll help market the property better.
Well, I would make a motion to take no action on the listing for the 49 acres and put a request into the Village of Holly for consideration of a water and sewer agreement for the property.
See what happens when the person that typed it makes the motion?
That makes a lot of sense.
Well, you threw me with the wording, sorry. So I have a motion by Winchester. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Ryan. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? I had to look at and see if there was anything that required a roll call. There was not, so the motion carries. Number 2 on new business is the Holly Area Youth Assistance Member Appointment. Proposed Resolution 2319. Steve?
What's her name? Lynn was at the meeting last.
Laura Rainey.
Laura Rainey. Why did I say Lynn? She was at the meeting last week and comes with a lot of recommendations and experience. And she volunteered to be at the group, so she was well liked and well thought of. So I would say yes.
I would move to approve the Holly Area Youth Assistance Member Appointment, proposed resolution 2023-19.
Support.
Motion by Winchester, support by Ryan. All in favor, say yes.
It's resolution.
Yes.
Oh, you're right. I'm following the ayes, nays, and absence. Yes, it's a resolution, so we need a roll call.
Ryan,
Yes.
Burton,
Yes.
Ruth,
Yes.
Winchester,
Yes.
Hollis.
Yes, motion carries 5-0.
Excuse me, Karen, can you spell her last name, do you know?
Rainey, R-A-I-N-Y.
Why?
Yep.
You.
Right,
I think it's
Just like the word
EY.
rating with a Y.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Paper is separate here. Okay. Oh. Next is, there we go. Next, number 3 is encouraging support for small business, proposed resolution 2320. We have with us this evening the DDA Director, Mr. Nicholas Klemp. Would you like to present this, please?
Thank you so much for having me here this evening and considering this resolution. It's been a while since I've been before the Township Board. Actually, I think it was probably before Mr. Cullis was the supervisor. So it's been a while. But thank you for having me. And this resolution came about at a DDA meeting, I think a couple months ago, out of concern for small business in general, particularly with it, of course, because it was the DDA, but our DDA district. And we just started talking about some of the negative things that have kind of been going on that are affecting our small businesses, not just in the DDA, but in our town as a whole. And, for us, things like COVID, and then for the downtown, the fire that happened, and then just the economy in general, all these things that have been going on that are really impacting our small businesses. And we thought, well, what are some things that we could do to help show our support to our small businesses and to let them know we're on our side, and then encourage others to continue to support our small businesses. And it was suggested that we do a combined resolution between the entities that are involved here in town. And so the DDA passed a resolution very similar to yours. The Village of Holly also did. This morning, the Chamber of Commerce supported the resolutions, and then I'm hoping to also get that resolution approved by you guys as well. Then once we do that, I'm going to take those resolutions and basically do a PR campaign showing the support of all of our municipalities and our business community in general, and just do a PR campaign of reminding people the importance of supporting our small business, and also that we as municipalities care about our small businesses. And so that's basically what this came out of, was that concern for our small business and just showing that support to them.
All right.
Any questions?
No.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
I know Board Chair Commissioner Bob Hoffman had called me and asked me if we would be a part of this. The Chamber this morning passed a similar resolution in support of this, and that's in front of you now. So, as your chair, I'm going to go ahead and make the motion to approve Resolution 2023-20.
Support.
Support by Winchester. And any further discussion? None appearing. Roll call, please.
Burton,
Yes.
Ruth,
Yes.
Winchester,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Hollis.
Yes. Motion carries or is adopted 5-1. Number 4 under new business is the assessing contract. Typically, this is an annual renewal. I get an email that says, hey, we're coming up for time for renewal. I print it out. I take it up to Karen and say, we need to put this on the agenda. I printed this out, and before I give it to her, I usually print it out, and I take the old contract, the new contract, and I just kind of go down and make sure that everything's still saying the same. Are there any differences? Well, the first difference I saw was when we went from a 7-page contract to a 13-page contract.
Yeah.
That was a real red flag.
Both
So
sides.
then we started getting
Two sides.
specific. That's when I ran across a couple of things that were really bothersome. And I know you mentioned today that you had some notes on it. So Treasurer Ryan, you want to go ahead and talk about the couple things you saw?
Well, the one thing that stood out to me was regarding, like tribunals and, claims for, issues with their assessment. And
This
just the
is our
fact-
annual board of review.
Oh, yeah, it's specifically in the section that says Michigan Tax Tribunal, but I think it carries over into other sections as well, but that's the
Well,
first one I noticed it in.
If you go through the process with the board of review
Yeah,
and you don't like what you get, you end up at
right.
the Michigan Tax Tribunal. So,
But in here, it mentions that, the municipality, hires the attorney, pays the fees, which makes sense, but then it also says that the Oakland County Assessment Division is the final decision maker on all appeals and would be do the selection of any appraisers. So it just seemed that if we're paying for it and using our attorney, that maybe we should have a say in what we do.
so that was definitely the red flag that I saw,
Yeah.
was the total control. And the fact that they wanted us to pay for the attorney if we go to the Michigan Tax Tribunal, if we're in a dispute with the taxpayer. So I got on the phone and I called a couple of other township supervisors to see what they thought. And this thing went on to the Oakland County Association of Township Supervisors, where this week at our monthly meeting, the conversation was had. Now, the contract expansion was the county's attempt to make all of the contracts in the county the same contract.
Okay.
Because they had different contracts with different townships over the years, different things had been negotiated. They wanted to get away with that. Okay, I understand that. There is language concern. I did not send this to our attorney yet, because other township supervisors had issues with it and had already sent it to their attorney. So we're kind of waiting to hear. The bottom line is the group got together, they had a meeting. Commerce Township and Waterford Township has kind of taken the lead on this. And Orion Township is involved. These are the bigger townships. They have already had a meeting with Hillary, the deputy county executive. Hillary, somebody help me with her last name. I'm at a loss. I'm sorry. Chambers. Hillary Chambers. And they are working on coming up with something that will work for everybody. So I'd like, again, this is unusual, I'd like the board to table this one. We are still under contract with them. The contract we have is an annual contract with 180-day. It can go for 180 days more,
Oh,
without having to renew it. And I'd like to see where this goes and see what we can fix, because I am here to tell you, as well as I know Lisa, and I think Karen, you'll back me up, if we sent that to her, that would be the first thing she would go, wait a minute. And the biggest issue, and I'll tell you something, they actually had something happen in Orion Township. Menards, and this has happened in a couple of communities across the state. You may remember about a year ago I brought this up to this board, and I think we actually approved to send some money to help with the court costs to fight the case. One of the box stores went after them, and their argument was, this building is specific to us. If we go out of business, it doesn't work for anybody. It's going to sit here empty. And they were trying to get the tax assessment cut in half.
okay.
And Menards went after Orion Township. And Orion had to spend money to get the attorney to go through this whole deal. And the county wanted to settle. And Judy Allen from the Michigan Township Association, who we work closely with as well, she said, don't do that. Because the minute you do that, every box store across the state is going to jump up and down and want that. And it won't be just Menards, it'll be Menards, it'll be Walmart, it'll be Myers. It'll go right down the line to Dollar General and AutoZone and all the rest of them. So Orion Township, along with some other townships that helped them with legal fees, kept the battle, cost them a little over $50,000. They got into court and they won. And one of the things that helped them win was Menards, when they came to Orion, said, in order for us to come in, you're going to have to widen the road, because Brown Road at that time was a 2-lane. It's opposite Great Lakes Crossing. where the Myers and Joann's is, and Costco's there. So Orion Township, along with the road commission, spent $8 million to widen that road.
Hmm.
And they came in along with a apartment, some other developments and so forth. So it was an economic development move. And the court said, no, you're here, that's your value. You know, you can't ask one side to do something and then you don't want to do your part.
Then the county would have settled, and it, yeah.
But had they not had control, the county had offered a settlement in Orion Township in conjunction with our meeting and talking to everybody else and talking to Judy Allen, held strong and took it to the end. So I think it's important that we wait on this one. There are a couple of townships, there was, just so you know, there was some conversation about two things. There are a couple of townships within the county that hire independent firms to do their assessing, and they seem to be very happy with their counties. Rick Hamill from Highland Township will be sending me his contract so we can look at that. There was talk about perhaps joining together. For example, maybe it would be Rose, Holly, Groveland, and between the three townships, we hire an assessor who would take care of all three townships and do it independently. Obviously, they have to be a certified licensed person and so forth. So there were some different conversations out there. Townships like Waterford, Bloomfield Hills, they have their own assessing departments because they are so large. You know, it's interesting when I sit in these meetings, we're all township supervisors, and everybody has respect and we all talk about it. But the reality is I'm a township supervisor of a township that has 12,000 people and an annual budget of about 1.3 million. I'm sitting next to Gary Walls, who's the township supervisor for Waterford. They have 70,000 residents, and their budget this year is $91 million. But we all have the same struggles. It's just the magnitude and how. And I know Bloomfield Hills has the same thing. A couple of years ago, they were worried about a $6 million deficit. You know, we don't have $6 million to worry about. But I'd like to see the board table this while that
We can just do no action until
Or
it
take no
comes
action?
back, yeah. And
Okay.
then when you're ready, we'll just put it back.
If the board is comfortable with that, then that's where I'd like to go.
Yep.
Any objection? Okay, so we'll take no action, and I will let you know where that goes as we watch the process unfold. Next is the cemetery tree removal proposal. So when we have storms in Holly, one of the things I do as the supervisor the next day is I drive the township. And I look for any trees that perhaps the fire department has missed that may have come down and they're in the roadway. I also check the farmstead, I check the boat landing off of Fish Lake, and I always check the cemetery. And after the last storm, we did very well. We didn't have any damage anywhere. I was pretty happy about that. About 2 weeks later, we had a gentleman come in that needed community service, and we decided to have him do some cleanup work at the cemetery, and I took him up there to show him what we needed to do. I went all the way to the back of the cemetery. As I was coming around the other side, I noticed one of those great big huge pine trees. The bases are about this big, so they've got to be over 100 years old. That cotton picker was split right down the center and leaning. In fact, I'm still not sure I understand how it didn't just go.
Yeah.
I took a couple pictures, came back to Karen, I said, we need to get this addressed before we have more dead people up there. So you've got some bids, you want to go ahead and share those.
Well, 3 bids.
And this is one tree. We didn't print a picture, did we?
No.
You go ahead and do that. While you're doing that, I'll find the picture.
We have, well, they have them in the packet, the precision tree, for 3,300, JMCS, for 36, and TNT for 35.
And you've,
All are good companies. We've used JMC before, JMCS, excuse me, and, oh no, yeah, Precision Tree is here,
Precision Tree.
yes.
Would you like to come up and talk about your bid?
Sure.
Well, I'm assuming you came to find out what we were doing, so go ahead and talk to the board.
I looked at the tree and I assessed it, and we made a plan, and I'm comfortable with my price. We work in lots of cemeteries, Highland, Tyrone Township. We're working over monuments and landscape. So we have a plan and figured out how to do it. And the price is your lowest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez, it was split.
I
Yeah.
was surprised it just
I don't
didn't
think
go.
we got
Yeah,
insurance
come all the way down.
certificates to you, but we usually do that
Yeah,
right as soon as we get a contract.
okay.
So we got a good reputation all
Yep,
around
we
this
do.
area.
Yep.
And we'll take the tree apart and clean up everything. Normal routine.
Thank you.
All right.
I've used Precision Tree myself, personally,
Okay.
so. Did a great cleanup job.
So everybody's had a chance to see the picture of the tree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know what we're working with? What is the board's preference?
I'll make a motion to move forward with precision tree and shrub, not to exceed 3,300.
Motion by Derek Burton to use precision tree. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Clerk Winchester. Any further discussion? None appearing. Can I get a roll call?
Ruth. Ruth,
Oh, yes. I didn't hear you, sorry.
sorry, I was,
Your voice comes off very quiet sometimes.
I'll try to yell. Winchester,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Burton,
Yes.
Collis.
Yes. Motion carries 5-0. That completes our agenda and brings us to the final public comment on any topic. Same rules apply as before. Give us your name and address, 3 minutes. Anybody interested in public comment? Mary Blanchard?
Mary Blanchard, 3444 Old Creek Drive, Holly, Michigan. And I have a few things. Last month I presented information on the Eat Safe Fish Guide and was hoping to see it on this agenda so that the board can take action to inform the residents of Bush Lake and Rice Lake that they are at threat of eating too many contaminated fish, and it's not on here. I'm not sure, as residents, I understand Clerk Winchester's concern about accepting necessarily the information we provide, and it certainly could be checked through the Eat Safe Fish Guide, through any of the people of the MDHHS staff that I provided you with the email information. You know, I know that you have children. Some of you have been pregnant yourselves, and some of us are leaning more towards elderly. Those are the people most at risk of PFAS contamination. And those residents need to be informed. I took the information that Clerk Winchester had given and Clerk Bigger, and I forwarded that to the MDHHS people, as well as my contact with MPART and 2 of the other people who were listed, and I heard back from none of them. And that included the fact of where do things stand on the state level. So as of right now, between the Board of Holly Township, Village of Holly, and MDHHS, MPART, and Eagle. Currently, no one is taking responsibility to inform the residents of Bush Lake and Rice Lake that they are at risk. So that's one thing. I also had given, in the packet that I gave to board members last month, the information that legal management, as well as the site lead and MPART are refusing to meet with residents of Holly, even though they do continue to meet with other communities across the state of Michigan. I don't know if you read it, but on that, I included, we would welcome any activity by our municipal leaders to assign staff time to learn about the information concerning hydrology.
Mary, how much more do you have? Do you need extra 3 minutes?
Please.
Okay. She has used the original 3 minutes, and it won't let me hit cancel. Stop. Okay. Well, see if I can turn it down. Okay, so, what is the board's pleasure?
Make a motion to allow 3 additional minutes.
Motion by trustee Burton. Is there support?
Support.
Support by trustee Ruth for an extra 3 minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. You have another 3 minutes.
Thank you. So I'll repeat, we welcome any activity by our municipal leaders to assign staff time to learn about information concerning hydrology throughout the Holly area that the agencies claim to have shared with our group, the Save Falk Road Committee, and schedule a meeting for residents and report back what our municipal leaders have learned. That's not on the agenda either. Last month, Supervisor Cullis had brought up the community garden being possibly available at the Holly Heritage Farmstead. After that point, I reached out to the current community gardeners and asked if they wanted to return to the community Holly Heritage Farmstead or to stay at Mitchell's. And everyone said that they would like to stay at Mitchell's. I did reach out to Glenn and Candy Mitchell, and they did say that they would host in 2024 for the community garden. So just so that the township knows, currently that is where we're going to be. I don't know even if the township is going to be ready to have the garden available by 2024 at the way things are going. The other thing is concerning the Holly Heritage Farmstead, the Holly barn. The roof continues to deteriorate. Now there is a long piece of metal or wood that is extending down across the roof. I don't know if any plans are being made, but we have brought this up before, and it's the barn. You put a lot of time and effort and money into that barn to refurbish the basement, but one of the first things that will bring a barn down is rain coming through the roof. So I don't know how you want to handle it, but there's where things stand. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else for public comment? Going once? Twice? We will adjourn the meeting at 7:14.